Hey guys, and welcome back. I know I'm a hot mess today. I didn't do my hair or anything, but I realized in editing that I had totally messed up the first video, so I had to redo it. So here I'm redoing it. Hopefully I do it better. But I want to talk about two missing men from Florida and the deputy they were last seen with. The two missing men are Felipe Santos and Terrance Williams. The deputy they were last seen with is Stephen Calkins. All of this happened in Florida, and I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm going to start with Felipe Santos. So, Felipe Santos was a 24-year-old Mexican immigrant living illegally in the United States. He had been living here for like 3 years and sending money back to Mexico. So he was working and sending money back to his family. He was last seen October 14th of 2003. He was involved in a minor car accident with someone else. And the deputy who worked the scene was Deputy Stephen Calkins. So this car accident happened near Naples, Florida. Deputy Calkins cited Felipe with reckless driving, no insurance, no registration, and he put him in the back of his patrol car. And that was the last anybody saw of him. His boss contacted the jail to post his bond to get him out so he can go back to work. And they said he's never booked in. Now, he claims that he dropped him off of Circle K to call his boss or his foreman for a ride. Now, when his boss couldn't find him and told his family, they reported him missing as a missing person. He's never been seen since. Now, Calkins' story was that he was cooperative and polite, and that's why he unarrested him, changed his mind. And maybe the laws are different in Florida. Maybe you can change your mind in Florida. The sheriff's department I worked for, you arrested somebody, they were arrested. You could detain them, but you tell them, I'm detaining you to investigate further. You don't arrest them. But anyway, none of that matters. He was last seen in this deputy's car. Now, the witnesses give a different story about Santos's demeanor. The driver of the other car said that he was annoyed. He was agitated. He was annoyed that Santos didn't have documentation, and he even said, I'm tired of pulling people over without the proper documentation. So his family reported him as missing, and his family says there really was no investigation. His wife says she's never been interviewed by an investigator. This was October of 2003, October 14th. The next missing person came up missing that following January. January 2004, January 12th, 2004, again in Naples, Terrance Williams, a black male, came up missing. He had recently moved to Florida from Chattanooga, was trying to, I guess, get his life together. He had a job, and so he was last seen the evening of January 11th by his roommate. It was believed he was last in Deputy Calkins' police car before he came up missing on January 12th, that Monday. So his roommate got concerned and contacted his mother on January 13th, the Tuesday. The family filed a missing persons report and tracked down his Cadillac. It had been, let's see, I'm reading this now. It had been towed from Naples Memorial Cemetery for obstructing traffic. And the tow report was signed by Deputy Steve Calkins of the Collier County Sheriff's Department. Now, what the family found out was Deputy Calkins had never filed an initial report, nor had he made any arrest. So, cemetery workers saw Calkins pull Williams over, make contact with him. He didn't have any documentation again. He patted him down and put him in the back of his police car. Now, I don't know if either of these guys were handcuffed. I didn't see anything, but both of them were last seen in Deputy Calkins' police car or patrol unit. Cemetery employees stated that Calkins left with Williams. He came back 15 minutes to an hour later, not sure how long, and without Williams, and moved his car to the side of the road. And the car keys were found on the ground beside the car. So the Williams family kept contacting the sheriff's office. What's going on? His car was towed. The deputy signed it. And the deputy kept going, oh, I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember having a car towed. I don't remember anything about it. But there's documentation that he had the car towed. So the sheriff's department was on him. How do you not remember this? How do you not have a report on this? So I can tell you my experience as a sheriff's deputy. You call everything in. If you're getting down at the store, you call it in. If you get out of your car for any reason, you call it in. If you have contact with somebody, you call it in. If the contact is significant, you make a report, no matter how minor it is. You document everything. And I was a police officer back in the 90s. And I'm telling you, you report everything. Everything is documented. Calkins submitted a report that he saw the car in some kind of distress, and he pulled it over about 12:15. The cemetery workers have a slightly different story. They said they witnessed him pull it over at like 9 or 10. So again, his memories coming back are his story that he made up, formulated in his brain. So he submitted an incident report on it, and he gave a different story than what the cemetery workers gave. He claims that William asked him to give him a ride to work at the Circle K. Now, this is not the same Circle K that Felipe got dropped off at, but he asked him to drop him off at the Circle K. Then after dropping him off, he claims he felt deceived. He didn't have the proper paperwork in the car. So he said he called Circle K from his work phone. That has been proved to not have happened. The records show he did not call the Circle K from his work phone. And he found out that Williams didn't work there. Well, no, Williams didn't work there. So let's get caught up with where we are. First, I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Oh my God, I'm so trying to get to 500. I'm getting so close. So hit the subscribe button. It takes only a minute. It's free, and it will help me so much to grow. I'm trying to grow a community. I have a webcam now, so pretty soon I'm going to start doing live streams where we can talk back and forth. So yeah, subscribe so you don't miss anything. So let's go back and start in September. Felipe Santos goes missing. There's not much of an investigation. He's just an undocumented worker. He's here illegally. So they're not really concerned with investigating it. January, Terrance Williams goes missing. Again, last contact, he was seen by witnesses being put in Calkins' patrol car. Both times, Calkins claimed he dropped them off at a Circle K. You know, in Williams' case, at least, the witnesses at Circle K didn't see any of this. Okay, I put my glasses up on my head. The light reflecting was distracting me. So they started investigating once Terrance Williams came up missing. They looked at the recording of his call to dispatch when he requested the tow for Williams' car. And there's conflicting statements there. In the recording of his request to dispatch for a tow, he describes the car as abandoned and blocking the road. Now, he's the one who moved the car. He said so in his incident report that he moved the car. But the day of the incident, he reported as blocking the road. So he moved it so that it was, I guess, blocking the road. He called it in as such. Though, it's really weird. It's just all, he joked that maybe he's in the cemetery and he'll come back and his car will be gone. So he made it out that it was abandoned, and he made it out on a couple occasions that it was disabled. And he called it a piece of junk Cadillac, and he called it a homie Cadillac. So you see a touch of racism there, homie. Later, he defended his statement, saying he was just joking around with a coworker. So I assume it's the dispatcher he was talking to. Like I said, he said that the car was disabled, but his family drove it home from the tow yard, so it wasn't disabled. So about 20 minutes later, at about 1:12 p.m., he called a background check on Terrance Williams. They record all that. If you're running a background check on somebody, it's for a reason. Anyway, about 20 minutes later, about 1:12, he called for a background check on Terrance Williams. Now, this contradicts his earlier statement before his incident report, which was given much later, that he had never met him. He never knew his last name or any other personal details. You can't call in a background check on somebody without name, date of birth, that kind of stuff. So, like I said, after he called in the background check, he was unaccounted for an hour. It may have been closer to 2 hours. There's some discretion in reporting, but he claims other activity, and it was never corroborated. There was no documentation. So, obviously, he's working day shift. When I worked night shift, we were expected to call in quite regular. We had to do business checks, and we had to call it in. I am 10-6 checking ABC Company on whatever road. They wanted and needed to know where you were all the time. Now, day shift, you might be able to go a little longer without calling in your location, but now, supposedly Calkins took 3 polygraph tests. 3. I don't trust polygraph tests. They're very unreliable. They're very dependent on who's giving the test. So I would never take one. I don't trust them. I was a police officer, and I would never take a polygraph. I saw how they worked. Trust me, if you're ever offered a polygraph, even if you're completely innocent, I know they're not admissible, and there's a reason they're not admissible. They're that unreliable. They use more of an investigative tool now to see if they're on the right track. But if you have an unscrupulous operator, tester, somebody giving the test, yeah. But he took 3. One was inconclusive. One indicated honesty, and one indicated deception. Again, they're all over the board. That's how unreliable they are. He was named the main person of interest in this case, and the FBI was called in. Now, different Investigative techniques were used, including they put a GPS on his vehicle to see, I guess, if he went back to where the bodies were. The bodies were never found. These two men were never found. But they used cadaver dogs on a couple of places. The GPS indicated he went, and there was never, ever any evidence of what happened to these two missing men. But Calkins was eventually fired from the department for providing conflicting information, for not cooperating with the investigation. Now, this case went on without any leads. They had no clue. In 2012, Tyler Perry offered a $200,000 reward for anybody with information connected to the cases. There was a piece on Disappeared, Anderson Cooper, Tamron Hall, Dateline, but it brought up nothing. In 2018, the families filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Stephen Calkins, the former deputy. In 2020, the case entered a non-binding arbitration, and the arbiter found it in favor of Calkins. Although the family appealed, a judge ended up dismissing the case, and Marcia Williams, the mother of Terrance Williams, had to pay about $5,600 of Calkins' legal fees. So that's where we are. She's lost her son, and now she had to pay his legal fees. So a popular theory brings up a practice by police, and I do remember this practice. I never did it, but I had coworkers. Now, you have to understand, I was a police officer in the 90s, like 30 years ago, or 20-something years ago, but bringing people to the edge of town and telling them, don't come back, that usually happened at night. I don't think that's what happened here, but, there's that. The theory is that both of these men wanted to just avoid trouble, and they just walked away. Santos was an undocumented worker in this country. He was illegal, and Terrance apparently had warrants for him for child support. They weren't serious warrants. They were warrants for unpaid child support. I don't think they walked away. I just don't. So I'm getting to the part of the video where I'm going to start not talking facts. Honestly, I don't know what happened to him, and all this is alleged. Calkin, the wrongful death case got dismissed. Apparently there wasn't enough evidence, I guess. I don't know. I think he did something to them. They were last seen in his car, and then they were never seen again. I don't think these men are alive. Yes, I admit that Santos could have disappeared, not being documented. He could have went back to Mexico. I don't think so, because of what happened to Terrance. Terrance Williams wouldn't have disappeared off the face of the earth. I just don't think so. But let's look at this. They were both men of color, both in their 20s. Both had lack of documentation in their car, registration, driver's licenses, and they were both last seen in the back seat of Deputy Stephen Calkin's car. But no evidence has been found. This is a mystery. I don't know. Honestly, I'm always surprised when a body's not found. How many places are there in our day and age? Now, this was 2020. This was 20 years ago. But surveillance videos, it really, why were they never found? Where did he go? How? I was a police officer even longer ago than that, and I don't think that, especially on day shift, that I could drive somebody private enough to kill them and dispose of their body. Of course, this is Florida, and the swamps are full of gators, so who knows? But thank you for watching. I'm gonna do some Karen videos. It's just hard to find them. I don't want to do fake ones, and I know y'all love them. Those are my highest viewed videos, but I do want to do some of these missing people videos. There's some cases that are just baffling out there, so I'm gonna do, there's more of these out there than the Karens. The Karens, so many are being fake now that they're hard to find, the real ones. I'll do some more paranormal. Again, it's hard to find any that you can kind of believe. There's so many out there being faked. But I want to talk about stuff Gen X. I did a recent video on money. I really hope you would watch that, because that is really interesting to me. You know, it affects our Gen X. It affects our generation. It affects millennials. Hell, it affects boomers. So I really hope you go back and watch that video. It's probably going to appear right here. Or right there. I'm not sure which one. And I'm going to be doing a video. I really want to do this video. I really want to do it. And I hope you find it interesting on rideshare. I found statistics that just blew me away. How many of our generation and boomers are doing the driving? How many of Gen Zers are doing the riding? It's amazing. It's gonna blow you away. I'm gonna do it soon. I went to Knoxville and I meant to video it. It was raining hard. It was raining the whole time I was there. We didn't really do anything but move. I'm going back to Knoxville this Sunday, so maybe I'll try to get some video of my trip to Knoxville. Again, I think it'll be boring, but if you're interested, watch it. But I am out of here for now, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.